talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys. What are you talking about?
Hey everyone, welcome into the Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 132. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-hosts Burley of Burleman Gaming and Turn-Based Carl. How you guys doing? How have you all, the two of you, been this past week? Burley?
I've been good. Just playing games, trying to do the good old balance between content creation and having a life.
Okay.
Still haven't figured the numbers out yet on that.
All right. Carl?
Oh, just was home with the kid, she's good now, but we had to keep her home a bunch of days from daycare. And,
Good.
We got Friday to ourselves. That was nice.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, so I heard you went out with your wife and had some drinks and stuff, so that's cool.
Just a couple beers,
Nice.
Oh, no, you didn't just get a bottle of tequila and just put it on the table and just get some limes, get some salt.
Yeah,
that's something that Burley would do. Yeah, Burley, he would go out in the backyard and just take that tequila bottle and sit down on the bench and just chug it down.
The thing is, it's cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
You could have just bought a bottle of tequila instead of getting, like 4 beers, basically.
Right.
From a bar.
Yeah, you could have bought a bottle of tequila and bought some limes for what you paid for the 4
for sure,
yeah. Well, for me, it's like I've been off this whole week. We've had Golden Week out here in Japan. It's like there's 3 national holidays during the week. There's Constitution Day, there's Green Day, and then there is Children's Day, which was on Friday. So, of course, my kids are almost grown up. So, of course, my daughter's in Canada right now. She's going to be coming back in a couple of months, but my son's out in Tokyo University. So we don't really celebrate, Children's Day pretty much anymore. But, we went out and saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 yesterday, and we're looking forward to reviewing that here on the Arena Productions. So, had a nice week. So anyway, we've got a great show for you here on the Arena Productions, here on the Arena Multi-Platform Gaming News Podcast, the #1 multi-platform gaming news podcast here on the internet, where we talk about all different types of genre of games and from every different platform. So we're going to be talking about Microsoft a lot in this episode. So Carl, he's got his game face on, of course, because today Carl is in the spotlight because, of course, Carl is a big Xbox game platform gamer. Of course, he plays other platforms as well, but
unfortunately labeled myself.
But his main console is Xbox. So anyway, we're going to be talking about the Phil Spencer interview. We're going to be talking about, of course, the Xbox Games Showcase. It's going to be coming up. And then right after that, following that, is going to be the Starfield Direct. We're going to be talking about that. But the majority of this episode is going to be about the Phil Spencer interview, as well as, Redfall in free fall, as we say here on the show. We're going to talk about Redfall, but the majority of the topic of the show is going to be focused on that, as well as the Phil Spencer interview. So we're going to be talking about that, as well as the new game releases for this week and our picks of the week. And of course, PS Plus and Game Pass games that are going to be coming here in May. Before we get into that and talk about the games that we've been playing this past week, of course, we do have a Patreon, of course, patreon.com/The Arena Productions. You can, of course, watch this show ad-free over there. But here on YouTube and everywhere else, of course, there are ads. So here is a brief word about where you can find the podcast in video and audio formats.
Before the crew discuss what they've been playing, this episode of The Arena, the Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast's ad-free version in audio and video formats, will be going to Patreon after being recorded. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry Tier 1 level at $1 per month, and get every episode including exclusive ad-free post-show content in video format when recorded, please visit patreon.com/thearenaproductions for further details. The audio version of the podcast will be uploaded to all free podcast services, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, and in the video version will be on our YouTube channel, The Arena Productions. For the audio version, just download your favorite podcast app and search for The Arena, the Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Productions, where you can join and chat with the Arena Productions community, and the podcast audio website is at thearenapodcast.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. For all information regarding the podcast and our entertainment and pop culture related content, along with our blog and forums, visit the official website of The Arena Productions at www.thearenaproductions.com. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at The Arena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
All right, guys, and I just want to say Cammy Reaper 147, thank you so much for joining us. And guys, I've been playing Jedi Survivor on PS5.
Nice.
It's really good. Obviously, a lot of the mechanics are brought from, of course, Jedi Fallen Order. Of course, all the running on walls and jumping and mashing the X button and getting blisters on my thumb and everything like that. Similar to the first game. Obviously, Burley can attest to that. So it's really fun. And yeah, I mean, no spoilers, but I mean, it's interesting where the story starts. And there are different characters throughout the game. But just the thing about the skill tree, it's enormous compared to the first game. I mean, just so many different skills to learn. And of course, skills pertaining to the single wielding lightsaber or the double wielding lightsaber. Yeah, and the customization is interesting as well. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I just got to the second planet within the game. So I finished the first stage, which basically you are on Coruscant. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's just like the first game, and I think Burley can attest to that as well. So with that, I will go to Burley now because he's been playing Jedi Survivor as well. But what else have you been playing, Burley?
Well, Jedi Survivor, I can't agree. It's a 0 out of 10. No, I'm kidding. It's like I said in the little review video, it is a great game.
Yeah,
like it takes everything from the first game and just adds to it, and really does a good job. The only I had one little complaint from my last little play session of it is you get a mount that you can hop on.
Okay.
In the case of this one, it's a bird and it grabs onto you.
Okay.
And the air controls suck. Like turning, but
probably not like
else
a
I've
big
been
section of the game, I imagine, right?
Yeah, no, it's just a small section. Once I pass this, I'm sure I'm fine, and it's for I'm sure exploring some other goodies, but I'm sure they're gonna have other ways for you to get there. But what else I've been playing? I've been really pushing on Fire Emblem Engage. I'm now on the last chapter, so probably about another 3-4 hours, and I'll have that finished.
Nice.
And I also started up the Super Dungeon Maker 3D. I've been playing that.
Yeah.
I'm playing People's Dungeons. That is so much fun. You can get it on the Switch or the Steam Deck. Or Steam, I should say.
Nice. Carl, you still playing Persona 4? Yeah.
I am. I'm still working on
sleeping underneath the kotatsu tables.
Yeah. They got the new kotatsu, I think.
Nice.
At some point. because
Yeah, kotatsu tables are very handy here in Japan, especially in the winter months, because it has a heater underneath. So I mean, you keep your legs warm and stuff like that. So a lot of people use them. So,
yeah, Nanako-chan needs her kotatsu to work. She's always at that table every day. Just 20.
Nice.
She's always there, so she needs.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm working through that still. I think I'm like 60 hours into some. I'm close to the end. I'm gonna do the last, I think, dungeon, and then I have the extra golden one after that.
Cool.
So I got to the reveal of who the villain is, and it's interesting. I like the mystery is set up pretty well, and like I had an idea who it was, but but then like I'm getting to the motivation, and I'm not loving the motivation. We'll see. Maybe there's a little bit more to it that hasn't been revealed, but I don't know. I feel like that's kind of it, and I'm like, I don't know if that's good enough, but we'll see.
Cool.
5 is definitely the better game for sure. Yeah, at this point,
Yeah.
Still playing Honkai Star Rail,
Okay.
which is doing good. There's one thing that's really annoying to me in that, like, if it was a regular single player RPG, this wouldn't happen. And it's like, you start with your 2 main guys that they give you, the characters that join you, which is March 7th and Danheng. And they're with you. And then there's a point in the story where you go out at night without them. And you go on some quest with 2 other characters, Sela and Branya. And they're with you like this whole section of the quest. But when I'm fighting in battles, I don't have them on my team.
No,
but they are playable characters. But it's because of this whole gacha system. Like, you have to randomly be able to get them. And that's just annoying. I would much rather in the story playing with the characters that are in the story at that current time. I wish they didn't do that. I wish they would give you them on loan, because they did do that one other time when the Himiko character joins you, and they're showing you how that works, and they're like, oh yeah, and she's trial character, and you got to use her for a little bit. I'm like, that's how they should do it every time. But
sorry, Carl, pronunciation Himiko.
Okay, there you go. So but it's still, I'm enjoying it. So, and then what else did I play? So, I mean, well, I think we can talk about Redfall later. Should I not talk about?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah,
my direct experience with Redfall.
Right. We'll talk about it during.
So I did play one other game inspired by wanting to enjoy a first-person shooter type game. I played a different one afterwards, and that was Ghostwire Tokyo.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
And I gotta say, it's a really cool game. I really like it. I got back. I played it more than once, and I want to keep going back to it. Maybe after I finish Persona 4, I'll go in on it completely. Nice. It's a cool game. It has a really good setup for the story. I think it's interesting. I like the setup for the character. The atmosphere is really cool. I like the combat. I like the way it feels. It's not it's not fast paced shootery thing. It's you got your hand and you're shooting energy blasts and
different elements.
Yeah, and I didn't get the other elements yet, so I really only have the first one, but I still enjoy just the pacing of that combat versus guns. I'm not. That's the reason why I don't like most first person shooters, because I just don't like regular guns. Regular guns are boring. So that's why I liked Halo Infinite and that Halo as in general when I was younger. It's they're not regular guns, and the ones I like the least were when they give you the freaking regular machine
pistol
gun.
Carl, they're futuristic guns.
Yeah, some of them are special, but some of them are on the human side, just shoot regular bullets and stuff. I'm like, that's not that interesting. So Ghostwire Tokyo, I'm really into it. I had to change it to English. It starts in Japanese with.
Oh, come on!
But I had to change it to English because I can't read the subtitles and play the game.
Nandayo.
I can't. How do they expect you to do that? I'm trying to walk around and look at stuff, and possibly shoot things, and you got the voice of the spirit within you talking to you at times, and I'm like, I can't focus on these 2 different things at the same time.
It is hard. It is hard to do as someone who has played Ghostwire.
And so that's why you need me to be in there and doing like a stream with you at the same time.
Fine.
So
if you want to do that, that's great. But like, I'll just put the English voice on. There's nothing wrong with the English voices. They're perfectly fine.
Okay.
Go to Cameo now. Cameo.com/expat. You can hire expat to translate the games while you...
Don't listen to Burley. Don't listen to Burley. All right. Okay, guys. It's time to get into the weekly news beat. And of course, the weekly news beat this week is kind of gonna basically, be in conjunction with the topic of the show, because there was a lot of stuff going down this week. Especially with Xbox and with Phil Spencer. But before we get into that part, let's go ahead and get into the news that we got about the Xbox Game Showcase. It's coming on June 11th. And of course, we will be covering it live here on the Arena Productions, as well as on our Twitch channel, the Arena _ podcast. So come and check us out as we, of course, react to what they talk about during the showcase, as well as the Starfield Direct. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of this for you. So I'll send the link here for you video viewers for Xbox.com. So basically it says, quote, "Join us for some new surprises and first looks from our incredibly talented internal studios and our many creative partners around the world. This is the day gamers have been waiting for to see what is coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. Starfield Direct will invite you inside Bethesda Game Studios to learn much, much more about Starfield, with tons of new gameplay, developer interviews, and behind-the-scenes insider information," end quote. So basically, the times, for example, Pacific time at 10 a.m. on June 11th, Eastern time 1 p.m., British Standard Time 6 p.m., CET 7 p.m., Japan Standard Time, that's my time, June 12th at 2 a.m.
Nice.
Yeah, perfect timing for me. So I will be up and ready to go for that. And AEST, June 12th, 3 a.m. So anyway, I'm gonna throw it to you guys. And my question to you guys is this the most important showcase ever for Xbox now?
Oh, God. That's like every showcase. Is this the most important showcase?
And so what's the answer?
I don't know. Yes, no. They can't all be the most important and not be the most important.
Okay, so I'll rephrase the question for you, Carl. Okay. For you, Carl, I will rephrase the question.
Yeah.
All right. So is this make or break for Starfield for the Xbox Series X?
Again, everybody's always asking if things are make or break as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Just be excited for a showcase. Like,
of course. Yeah. I'm just, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this is something now with what's gone on this past week that the pressure is ramped up like 1,000%, basically.
Yeah, I mean it is. Look, every Xbox showcase is good, right? Like they always put on a good show. They always show good things. Always exciting things.
Mm-hmm.
Do those things pan out later? Maybe not. Like clearly last year's showcase with the whole 12-month thing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, right. And then Redfall being the game that doesn't pan out. I mean, so like you're going to be hyped. Like people are going to watch the show. People are going to be hyped. I'm sure Starfield's going to look great. I'm excited, really, really excited to finally, get a deep dive into what that game's about.
It's going to look great because they're going to show you what looks great.
Yeah, well, but they're going to do a deep dive. I mean, I kind of wanted, I didn't get the chance to, but I wanted to go back and watch the Fallout 4 reveal deep dive that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to get an idea of like how Bethesda does that, just for fun to see what I can expect from this type of show.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did do a dive into everything that's going to be in the game, right? You're going to get a really good idea of what it is. Right now, we really have a vague idea of it. But yeah, the showcase, it does need to be good. I think they are going to show, some of the big stuff that we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, like Hellblade 2 and probably see Avowed and what else could we?
Fable.
Let's close in Fable. I think it's time to show Fable.
Yeah.
Everwild. I feel Everwild's going to be there this time. That studio's been, there's people working for that studio have been vocal, talking a bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they need to show. It's going to be one of those things though, where, like when they showed off all those games before the Xbox Series launch and they hyped you up, or was it after, whichever one it was, they hyped you up for all of those games, those first party games that are coming, and they haven't come here yet. And I'm like, I mean, you can get hyped and excited about these things. And I'm still excited about those games like that. We might not see them soon still. So it takes time,
Yeah, and there's so many studios that still haven't shown anything yet. And it's like, are they going to finally start showing and telling us about the game and what kind of genre it is, and give us some gameplay of what they're developing? I mean, that's
like Compulsion is probably one that's a good bet to see what they're working on.
The Initiative,
well, that's Perfect Dark. Will we see that? I kind of feel like we won't, but you never know. In Exile is working on a new IP. Maybe we'll see that.
Yeah. Burley, what do you think of this? Is this like if Starfield doesn't work out, is this the death knell for the Xbox?
I don't want to say death knell, but like if Starfield comes out, let's just say Starfield comes out and looks bad and performs bad, Xbox is not going to be in a good spot. Let's just say that. Yeah. But I think Starfield, from the amount of time they've delayed it and keep just pushing back, gives me faith in Starfield. So I'm very interested in the deep dive, because I haven't seen one of these deep dives on one of these games in a long time. Like, I think the only one that I did see was for Oblivion back in the day, because that was the one that introduced me to Bethesda.
Yeah.
And I really liked
You didn't watch the Fallout 4 one?
I did not watch the Fallout 4 one.
Okay.
As for this event, I don't think we're going to see Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is way too... That one's had some issues, so I think...
way too early in development still, you think?
I think it's too early, because remember, they have come out and said they had development issues a while back, so I think they're going to hold that back for a little while.
Okay.
It'd be nice to see Fable and see some of these other studios and see what else is coming that I can only get on Game Pass or by buying it on an Xbox or on the Microsoft Store or Steam. Like, I'm curious to see what we're going to see. Like Carl said, they have been doing good showcases. They have been great on of just giving you, here's the trailer. Here's what the game is, a bit about it, coming this day. And if it's on Game Pass or not, coming this, that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another teaser in this one for the Outer Worlds 2. Yeah. We got that a while ago.
Yeah.
So, and we just got the little teaser thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something on that.
Well, besides Starfield, I'm super psyched for Hellblade 2. I can't wait to play that game. I mean, just the facial rendering and everything, and just it almost looks like a movie that you're playing. I mean, I just can't wait.
Hellblade looks amazing. That's got to be there, because even if it's not
that
this
one's
year,
not there, that's not a good sign.
I mean, it's time to show it again. Like, I don't know why. Like, even if it's not going to be this year, it's I assume it'll probably be early next year at the latest. So
so a possible release window then for Hellblade 2, maybe.
I kind of think they need to do that. I don't know. Again, like, I don't think there's any make or break for any of this stuff, because it's all going to come down to, like, when Starfield comes out, do people love it? I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's going to be in September, and like, they could have an amazing show and show all kinds of great stuff, and everyone could be super hyped about it. But like, when Starfield comes out, is that game great? Is it fun to play? Is it a engaging, world, an RPG? Are you going to spend 100 hours in it? Is it that kind of game? That's what it needs to be. And I know, like, people are, like, this is all on Xbox. I'm like, I guess, I don't know. I mean, yes, they own it, right? So like, you could say that, but like, this is a game just like Redfall. It's a game that Bethesda greenlit a while ago, and it's been in the works for a long time.
Right, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this during the Phil
Yeah.
Spencer interview and all. But I mean, it's a game that was probably already in development when Microsoft acquired Bethesda. So,
I mean, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that's come out that under the studios Microsoft has acquired was already in production. Like that's just how it was. Like because games take a long time, right?
Yeah.
So like Hi-Fi Rush, you know, that was in production already, and you saw the people saying like, "Oh, Microsoft doesn't get credit because they didn't make that game." I'm like, okay, so they didn't make Redfall, right?
Yeah,
I guess because it was already in production.
Yeah.
So like you can't have it both ways, you know.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the interview. And I'll go ahead and let for all of you video viewers, let the Starfield clip here continue. But from the Phil Spencer interview that was on IGN, of course, he talked about the CMA ruling, and it was interesting how he was talking about like how the CMA, it's just they defined a market of cloud gaming that in my mind doesn't really exist yet today. End quote. So I mean,
right.
Obviously disappointing about the decision and all, and of course he said that they are going to appeal. So I mean, a lot of stuff that we already know that Microsoft is got in the works to try to overturn either that decision or continue on. So Carl, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's right to say that the cloud market is, it's nascent. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't really know what it is yet, right? I mean, Microsoft is trying to build that, but if you look at the way they've done it, they haven't done it in a way like Google did in Stadia, where like, here it is, here's the big launch, here's the whole shebang. Just start using Stadia, just subscribe to Stadia, right? Microsoft doesn't have that method of like just subscribe to xCloud. Like you have to get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to get it. There's no way for you to just say I just want this cloud service.
Yeah.
So right there, they're already like doing this sort of easing into trying to make it this sort of companion and to see if it can grow into its own thing. And then also, if you remember, there was the Keystone cloud device that they had. If you remember, that was the code name for it.
Yeah.
That they basically kind of canceled or shelved for now.
Right.
Which also should tell you a lot about like what Microsoft views as that market. Like they don't necessarily view that market as potentially ready to be a full-fledged thing of its own, where like I'm going to go out and buy a device just to play cloud gaming.
Yeah.
And the CMA has a lot of answering to do, and hopefully when Kat looks at it after the appeal that's going to come soon, that they do the right thing, because they said some really dumb things like Microsoft, they basically imply that Microsoft has this giant lead in this cloud market right now. and they use data saying that like, because they have X amount of, Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, that's how many like subscribers they have. But like, that's not true. If you have that doesn't mean you use cloud. Like I don't use cloud. I've tried it once or twice just to see what that was like, just to check out that experience, but I don't need it. I don't use it. I would not pay for that service if I had a choice, right? But I get it with Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, Burley uses it that way.
I use it, but not that, but not as much as you think.
Yeah.
Like I do use it on my Steam Deck. I'm not gonna lie. It is nice when I'm sitting on the couch, or somewhere, and I can just play on the Steam Deck. Oh, I want to try out. I don't want to spend the time and download 60 gigs on a game, and waste all that time downloading it and finding out, oh, this game sucks. That's mostly what I use the cloud for. It's just testing certain games and be like, okay, this game's good. I like this. Okay, I'll download it to my PC or Xbox.
Yeah.
And so there it is. It's a companion service for you. Like it's not.
Yeah. No.
It's.
Cloud gaming is still easily, I can say, like 10 to 15 years out, because there's so much with people's internet connections and stuff like that. And not only like you need to have the back end, like I know Microsoft's got a good back end for servers, but if you're going to fully go into cloud, they need they're going to need better than what they have.
And then, of course, during the interview, of course, Phil Spencer talks about the fact that they're not in being in the business of out-consoling Sony or Nintendo. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, he was basically put on the spot there, and hats off to Phil Spencer, man. I mean, he's got guts to come on these like gaming media shows and just tell it like it is, and like, hey, he's owning up to it. And but what's interesting here is he talks about like he says, quote, "We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a good solution or win for us." And then he says, in quote, and then he says, quote, "And I know that will upset a ton of people, but the truth of the matter is when you're third place," and it was interesting that he said that, excuse me, that, they're third place in the market, which is true in the console marketplace. And the top two players are as strong as they are, and have in certain cases a very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else, end quote. So yeah, he brings up basically Sony and Nintendo, and the fact that he talks about Starfield, even if it's like the greatest game out there, people are not gonna give up their PS, their PlayStations to go buy an Xbox, basically. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Carl?
Yeah, first thing I want to say is watch the whole interview yourself. Okay, take the time. It's like 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 45. Yeah.
It's the Kind of Funny Xcast.
Yeah.
Because you can see headlines like this, and there's a lot of headlines, a lot of hot takes on Twitter and wherever social media, right? Who are taking these quotes and then commenting on these quotes. But you have to look at the whole context of everything he says, because I mean, he's very open, he's very honest, and he's very, I would say, I mean, he sounds like he's being truthful about everything he's saying, and I think he's being humble, and he's taking the blame for these things, whether it is directly his blame or not. He's in charge. He's doing what he's supposed to do, right? So yeah, when it comes to the whole out-consoling thing, if that upsets you, I don't know what to tell you, but he's right. Like, you can't. I don't know how you expect Xbox to suddenly take the lead or even match PlayStation and Nintendo at this point. Switch.
Yeah,
it would take. Can it happen? Maybe. Yes, it can possibly happen. But for that to happen, a lot of things are going to have to take place, and it can't just be simply, like you said, games, right? You can't just be like, I put out a couple of great games. All right, why is everyone here now?
Yeah.
I'm off my train of thought there. Burley, do you want to say something?
Well, let me just before I turn it over to you, Burley. Another thing about the interview too. Yeah, it's about 45 minutes, Carl. I watched the whole thing, and what was really interesting about it, he actually admits that the Xbox One generation, and the link to that article from The Verge is below for you video viewers, that basically the Xbox One generation was the worst to lose, because of the fact that was the start of that generation. That's when everybody was really building up their digital libraries. And obviously, PlayStation players just building up a huge, ton of games on their systems and everything. And that ecosystem is something that they're used to, and they're not just going to easily run away from that to go to another platform. And that's the generation where that digital age truly started, with lots and lots of digital games being bought. So yeah, that was really interesting, I thought. So Burley, your thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I watched the whole interview, and I agree. I think he was upfront and honest, and he puts he at parts will say, like, you know what, hey, it was me. I'm partially to blame and all that. You can tell he's being sincere in that interview.
Mm-hmm.
So like Carl said, I highly recommend you watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not wrong. Like, they are in third place compared to the other two. You could put out Starfield could be 10 out of 10, no bugs, comes out amazing, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
It's still not going to be enough to be the diehard PlayStation fans to sell their PlayStation to go to Xbox just for Starfield.
Yeah.
Like, you even if Redfall had came 10 out of 10, Starfield, like, you need the good games will help, but you need your competition to royally screw themselves and do some really bad damage themselves and really kind of tarnish their legacy to make you even consider for people to jump ship. Because
Go ahead.
for us, my dad actually, he had a 360 and then was going to go to the Xbox One. You know, what killed them was the whole, at first on the Xbox One, the whole nanny state always is online, the Kinect has to be on, and that you can't buy used games or like people bringing, because the thing is, like, we'd all, back when I was in high school and early college, you know, we'd all borrow games from each other and come down, go to bring games down to people's houses and just play. And it's like, yeah, you can't do that with the Xbox One at first. And like Sony did that great moment of how do you take a used game, making that quick 5-minute YouTube video with the two guys being like, here you go, and all that. That stuff damaged the brand for so long. Yeah, it took a long time for them to get past that.
It certainly did, and we were talking about in the beginning before the show. You know, it never launched that way, right? And when it launched, they fixed it already, right? They had already changed that plan. But the thing is, is that the price, it was $100 more expensive and less powerful. Yeah. And that right there was like the thing. It's like, why would I buy that? Like, what's the point of buying that thing? And you know, they did have a lineup of good games to launch with, you know, and that came around launch. It was actually better than what Xbox Series X had, but it was just everything else around it, you know. And if you also look at what came before that, right? I mean, leading into that generation. Xbox 360 had a huge edge in the beginning, but they lost that out at a certain point, and it had a lot to do with the Red Ring of Death. You know, people having to buy another console, not trusting that hardware anymore, and going to PlayStation after maybe their Xbox went and they're like, I'll get a PlayStation because they're doing great right now. They've got a bunch of exclusive games and first party stuff, and like, let's go check them out. And then that leads into the next generation. And like you have that this generational gap right now where if you grew up with late PS3 and early PS4, even if that's your first console, PS4, I mean, like, why would you consider Xbox? Like, there's not a lot of reasons to get you to consider or even change to Xbox at this point. You know, I mean, maybe Game Pass is appealing and maybe a few of their games are appealing, but are there enough? Like, not yet. That's going to take a while. And even what he said in this quote here, which I think is very specifically talking about timed exclusivity or even third party purchase exclusivity, where he says that the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in a certain cases, a very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that make it being Xbox hard for us as a team. Like, he's saying that, like, look, we can do everything that you want us to do, but these other people are going very hard on doing that too. Right? PlayStation is buying Final Fantasy 7 remake and Final Fantasy 16 remake, and the Silent Hill 2 and Forspoken and whatever else, the KOTOR remake and Street Fighter 5 and whatever else. They're buying all these things away from you, and you have to fight that while also making your own games. Like, it's very difficult.
Well, look, like Sony did this year. There's been how much Square stuff? None of it touching Xbox. Octopath 2, Traveler 2 did not come. The Final Fantasy Pixel remasters came to PS4 and the Switch, not Xbox. Like Sony is doing all this stuff they're trying to get everything from Square at this point. I don't know if it's just because they can't afford to buy them. Be like, no, you can't put it to Xbox. Yeah. You can put it to Switch, fine.
We don't even know if that's all those are Sony, but some of them, the big ones, were for sure.
Okay.
But
But
even Nintendo makes deals for exclusives, that are from third party, IPs. Like I guess like Bayonetta, right? Which used to be I mean, they saved that one, so I sort of understand that. But like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a Switch exclusive. Like why? I don't know, but I guess maybe they saved that franchise too because nobody else wanted it. But there's things like that keep happening.
yeah. So what I really liked about 2 points that I really liked about this interview, he talks about, it's a difficult industry. It's a difficult market to work in. You have to take risks. There's going to be hits and misses in the industry. I mean, there's going to be some games that are just going to be really, really great. And there's going to be some games that people don't like. And as he was talking about Redfall, it's like, the vision just didn't seem to work in that case. But I mean, the other thing was the fact that the vision of Xbox is not, like we said earlier, to outsell PlayStation or Nintendo when it comes to a console box. Their vision is Game Pass. Their vision is, of course, cloud gaming, and they're going to continue on that path. And that's the thing that I really liked about that interview is that people can say all they want, and all the console war people out there, they can say whatever they want, but Microsoft and Xbox has a vision of making Game Pass the best that it can be, as well as cloud gaming for the future and getting games in everybody's hand on whatever device they want to play it on. So I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, he said, he's basically saying they have their own strategy, and if they were to try to just do what everybody else is doing, they're not in a position to just bounce back by doing what everybody else is doing. They have to be their own thing, and they have to be unique. And each of them are to that point, everyone is doing a different thing, really. Like Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox all have their own unique ways of going about their business. And for Xbox, it is not just the console, and that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, they got to catch up with the consoles, or like they probably never ever will, because that's not the plan anymore, because they put their games on PC. All right, that's kind of where you got to remember, like that was the end of it. Like once they did that, it was just never going to be. They're never going to be the highest selling console, because you have other options.
I mean, even if they did only put their games on Xbox, out here in Japan, they're never going to catch PlayStation or Sony. I'll just say it right now. They're never going to catch them. I mean, that's just, a given. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Carl, I mean, putting the games on PC, that was, the thing. But what I really thought was interesting about the interview also was that he was put on the spot. And that was, I mean, it was a great interview. And they were like talking about last year's showcase. Of course, at the beginning of the show, we talked about the June 11th showcase that's coming up.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things in the previous year's showcase that did not deliver, especially as you were talking about, Carl, in previous episodes, that 12-month window.
Mm-hmm.
The 12-month window of games that were going to be coming out. Well, a lot of those games that they didn't come. And so it's like, are we going to have that again, where the Xbox community is going to be disappointed because they're going to have to wait another year, another 2 years, another 3 years for these big games that, Xbox and Microsoft is promising them. And then, of course, the 60 frames per second, the 30 frames per second. And then, of course, the question towards the end of the interview came up. Are you going to say, like in this game showcase, about 60 frames or 30 frames? And Phil Spencer didn't even hesitate. He said yes.
He just said yes. Yeah. At least, are you going to be clear about it? Yeah.
Are you going to be clear about it? Yeah.
Exactly. I thought there was an interesting exchange, and I'm trying to read into it, but I don't know if what I'm thinking is accurate. But when they're asking about the 12 months thing, and it was Paris, I believe, was. So he said something like, he's like, oh, you didn't make that 12-month thing. And Phil Spencer like interrupted him. He's like, no, we did not do it. We didn't succeed.
We didn't do it. Yeah.
And I felt like him being very strong about it in that moment kind of maybe said that that wasn't his choice. Like maybe he had to concede that or something.
Mhm.
Like he wasn't on board maybe with saying the 12-month thing. Who knows? I don't know. But this is what it sounded like to me.
Yeah. And Burley, another thing about the interview too, he talked about the development process and when they bought Bethesda, they probably should have had more communication with some of these studios, particularly the studios that had something already in development. Of course, have more hands-on type of communications with them. And that's something that he said he wants to improve on. What did you think about that, and what can you say along those lines?
Yeah, they need to. I'm not gonna lie on that. As I've been vocal in the past of a little studio called 343 with Halo Infinite, that like Microsoft should have went in there when because that game did not launch when they wanted it to. The first real showing of it was really bad, and then not launching with all the features and some of the features getting canceled that were on the back of the box and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Microsoft should have stepped in there. I think they're going to be stepping in now on a lot of these projects, checking in because they need to, especially because like look at all the marketing that went for Redfall, and a lot of that marketing is way different than what we got.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, it's hard to get exactly what's going on with how they are dealing with that and managing that, because he does say some stuff, but it's not 100% clear. Like I didn't get the clear picture of like how much they knew and how much they didn't know. He did say, I guess if we get into the Redfall stuff, that's the next thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Specifically the Redfall comments. One thing about the third place thing, it's interesting. Like they are third place in console, but like revenue wise, they're second. They're ahead of Nintendo. Like they bring in more revenue. So like whether that means profits, who knows, right? But like that's the thing that people don't understand when they're like, oh, Redfall is. Xbox is on the the brink of folding or just going away, and I'm like, they bring in more revenue than Nintendo. You have to remember that. It doesn't matter to them that their consoles aren't selling as much, because that's not even how it doesn't, like, do they care if that one aspect of the business isn't as high as this other when they're doing more overall in their gaming business? Like that's the point. It's just one leg of the strategy is Xbox now. But if you want to get to Redfall in the comments there.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. So Redfall, of course, not a pretty scene when it comes to reviews as well as gameplay for a lot of players. Carl, Burley, because you guys have played some of it, I'll let you guys talk about it. So Carl, I'll start with you. Go ahead.
Phil Spencer did talk specifically about it. So like there were a couple of comments I think were interesting about Redfall and where they sort of lied on it. We were talking about like the development cycle. He said like they do internal reviews, right?
Yeah.
And mock reviews. And he said that, they didn't expect the reviews to be that low. Because he said they were double digit lower than what their mock reviews were at.
Right.
And, people are like, I saw people, I feel like people were misunderstanding what that meant, because maybe I'm wrong, but like my interpretation was it landed in the 60s and they probably thought it was going to be in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right. That's double digits. It's double digit change, right? From 60 to 70s.
Yeah.
They thought it was, which to me tells me they didn't think it was all that great internally, which I think they're right about. Right. Yeah. And he did say, I think importantly said that was like, we could have, there's the people saying like, you could delay it. It's like, we could delay it, an additional amount of months. It's like, but that's not going to change the core design of it. Right. He didn't, I don't know exact words, but he basically said that. Right.
Yeah. And as well as the 60 frames per second too, that, I think they had promised 60 frames per second, but it didn't achieve that. So,
yeah, he talked about how, we could have, it was like, I think he said they had to start sometime last. Was it September or something? I think he said a specific like month last year. Like we'd have had to like get on that sooner to like make sure that the 60 frames per second would have landed like now, which is interesting if you think about like it tells you specifically how much time it takes to optimize for something like that. Like, we're talking about half of a year at least, potentially more.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Redfall, man. I mean, and he also said that they're not, they're gonna support it, and they're doing what they can. There's, they do have some content planned, and is that bad decision or is that, I don't know, but like he really went to bat for the team.
Well, he mentioned Sea of Thieves also. I mean, and how Sea of Thieves has been supported for this long as well.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, but the thing about like going to bat for like Arcane and like saying like, they had a vision and they had an idea, and like we wanted to give them the freedom to explore and get this done. And I think that's the right attitude when it comes to like, we bought you and you had this game in development for like at least 3 years already.
Yeah.
And to like try to give you, they could have canceled it, and maybe that was a better idea, right? Maybe that was the right way to go. I don't know. But if they did, I guarantee you it would be the same thing as, Scalebound. Like people would be saying like, I would have played that game. I wanted to play that game. People never give up on mentioning Scalebound, right?
There you go, Burley. Burley wanted to play it, yes.
Well, that was the reason I bought an Xbox One. I'll be completely honest. Scalebound.
Maybe it would have been in the 60s. Who knows, right? You don't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sea of Thieves is a good one to bring up, because Sea of Thieves launched with the ratings in the 60s. And so did State of Decay 2. And guess what? I put like 400 hours in State of Decay 2. And that game has over 10 million players who have played it. And Sea of Thieves is a wild success now, right? So like, who knows what's going to happen? Like sometimes you do have to take that chance. He did say that. Like sometimes you have to take a chance on a risky project, because it could pan out into something great. And, I think it's important to make sure your teams are like believe in management to like allow them to build on this, artistic work. Because again, these games are art, right? And you can't just say like it has to be X, Y, and Z, and that's going to make it successful. Like it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about. Do you want to talk about specifically like our experience now? I could barely go for it because I was just.
Go ahead, Burley. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say first thing, the footage here is actually provided by a friend and patron of the show.
Yes.
Fryman 214.
Yes. Thank you so much, Fryman. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Farther than I got.
This game, this I was hoping for a better launch. Like the fact that, like I know this is in Game Pass, but if you bought this, like this over here in Canada, this is $100 game, and it's like the quality for what you're getting for your $100 is like. Like I still can't believe, like after the first cutscene in this game, it then just goes to crappy looking crappy looking image, or I shouldn't say crappy. It's not as good looking image as it should be, and then text. That's your cutscenes.
Yeah, it was just like art. Yeah, I'm like, I hate that. I hate when they do that.
I expect it on a smaller indie or a AA, but like when I see indies and AA's, they're doing a better job than Arcane. Like not so good. And the thing is, like, I only put about an hour, a little over an hour into this game. Mm-hmm. It's boring. It just within the hour did not grasp me. Mm-hmm. I like Arcane games. Like I loved the first Dishonored, loved Deathloop.
Yeah.
This, like, I can see it has elements of those games that I like, but it just very bland, and if you can't get it, it doesn't have anything, I think, in the first bit to pull you in. So if you're not pulled in,
that's true.
And what I'm hoping is for Arcane, that with this experience, hopefully they still continue to bring out something like new I hope they just don't think, oh, this was a failure. We better just go back to Dishonored and just stay with Dishonored.
Yeah.
I hope they
Yeah.
continue to come out with some new stories and some type of new genre or some type of new IP and continue to take risks.
See, this fight we're showing here with this vampire that like causes the blackness around a certain range. That looks interesting. That was an enemy I wanted to fight and see, but like I didn't get far enough into the game because like I'll talk about it now. Like I played like an hour, and like Burley said, like I was not engaged at all. Like at the beginning of the game, I'm like, all right, I like the story setup. I like the idea of like this, experiment gone wrong, created all these vampires in this town, and they started doing all this crazy stuff to keep people in the town. They blacked out the sun. They like the water wall was really cool. I was like, oh damn, like somehow they like froze the water up in a giant wall so you can't get out through the sea either. I'm like, that's really cool. But then you start playing the game and it's just like, this is so boring and bland. And like these enemies are boring. These weapons are boring. And look, I don't like looter shooters. So this game is not going to, this game had a lot of work to do to impress me. And it's obviously not a very great version of that, because, I got like a special gun and I'm like, cool, let me look at it. I'm like, oh, it's like 50% more damage after killing an enemy for X amount of seconds. I'm like, that's not interesting to me. I don't care. That's not interesting. I don't like that. Like that's not going to entice me to want to get more things, They give you your powers, like you get your one power and they don't really like the tutorial of this game is bad. It doesn't drive you into like, all right, these are the cool aspects of the game. It's just like, all right, get to the fire. Well, it's like you got to walk to the firehouse, and there's a couple enemies in here, and you can go any way you want. Look, there's more than one way you can go. I'm like, okay, great. Like, I get that. It's an open world. All right, I'll shoot these dumb enemies over here. I'll sneak up at them and kill them with bad animation or something. It's that kind of thing. It's like that. None of that adds up to just getting me into caring about this world and the characters. And there's so much like lore. You pick up like all these texts and notes, and they're long. And I'm like, nope, not reading that. Don't care.
Well, and because it's open world, this is something I didn't like with Deathloop. Is like this Deathloop. A lot of the cool stuff for the story was all in these collectibles you had to pick up and learn more about it. And this, because it's all open world, I could get something but not get the context of it because I didn't get this collectible over here because I went to this area instead of that. And the first couple enemies you fight of vampires, some of the worst AI in the world. They barely move and go like, "Rah, I claw you." And you can easily move.
They're not anything amazing. Yeah, they do like a sort of like fast movement thing, and they just come out. You just shoot them a lot, and and then you kill them like any enemy. But like AI, look, I gotta say, this is another reason why I don't like a lot of first-person shooters, because AI and first-person shooters, in my opinion, is generally bad. It's like I don't view this game as like much worse. That's what AI in a lot of shooters are. They just they shoot at you. They stand there and they shoot at you. Maybe they hide with something. See, this game might have worked better as a third-person cover shooter. Because I felt like there's a lot of things around me, objects, the environmental things, but like I can't. What do I do with it? I'm in first person. I can't hide behind things and shoot things. That doesn't really work. There's some objects explode, but like I don't know. I feel like I don't need to use that. See, given my experience with like actually playing the game, I want to tell you something about like that. They're just like this is why I stopped playing, because you do that firehouse mission and that's where you start. And they're like, turn on the power. I'm like, all right, great. This is the intro to the game. It's like, I turn on the power in the firehouse, and there's a bunch of dumb characters here I don't like. They all look stupid, and they have giant hands. I hate the way everything looks. You don't like the art style. It doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, all right, now here's the map thing, and go you get a quest, and it's like there's not a lot to it. It's just like, all right, there's helicopters crash, and there's some gear. You got to go get it. I'm like, that's not interesting. I'm like, all right, I'll go. And I got to go out into this big open world, and I got to walk all the way there. And I go into like this, like, there's like this big canyon. I'm like, I gotta get up there, I guess. And how do I get up there? And I gotta walk around this
Right.
stupid shit. And I finally get there. And I fight some enemies. I find the thing, and they're like a lot of enemies come at me, and I die. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I start back in the goddamn basement of that firehouse, and I walk all the way back there to fight those dumb enemies again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do it. Immediately, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't. And I went and I did it.
Yeah.
And I died again at a certain point. I'm like, God damn it. I don't want to go back down. Let me just walk around some other places. And I'm like, oh, damn, I'm out of health packs. How am I going to survive now? I don't have any more health packs. So I got to buy them, I guess. I guess I could spend my money. I guess I could look around and find some. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Okay, Carl. That's about the 20th time you said I don't want to do this. Okay,
yeah,
so that's great.
That kind of game.
All right.
Oh, one thing I forgot that I wanted to mention is something that this did not help when I first started up the game. You go boot up the game, you need to not only do the whole EULA agreements crap, but you also have to sign in and make a Bethesda account if you don't have one before you can even play.
I must have it already.
If you already had one, it's fine. I did not have one.
Yeah.
So I had to spend 5 minutes of my time getting an email, putting the code, and they're
that.
like, "Oh, if you do this, you get this weapon skin and a weapon." I'm like, I could care less. Like, I would rather you do it. Like, at least Ubisoft would just say, "Hey, if you want to do this, you can log into our thing and get extra stuff within the game." At least Ubisoft did that right with their Uplay stuff and all that. This was just like, really, this is what you want me to do before I even play the game? Let's do this. This is just not, this does not make me happy.
Okay. So
it feels bad to play. Like, I don't like moving and shooting things in the game. And I don't know if I don't think that's the frame rate, because like I lowered the sensitivity. I actually lowered it because I felt like it was kind of jerky. I'm like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I was aiming right because I moved a little bit and I moved too far or something. I don't know. Like it felt smoother when I lowered the sensitivity. Performance didn't really bother me. I didn't find any bugs, but I only played for an hour. But like, all that stuff was, it was the core of the gameplay. That was like, I'm not interested. So
okay.
The core is the problem, but you do feel it is because it is 30 on console. On PC, you can get 60 or higher depending on your rig. But like you do feel it because it is 30, and it's like I still say they should have just delay this for 60. Might have helped a bit, but I say this game's going to be dead in a few months.
Okay,
no one's going to talk about it.
So the last thing I want to mention, of course, is especially the Xbox community is worried about, are we going to get the big exclusive? Of course, Starfield is that one that they're hoping for and all. But I just want to ask you guys, define a big exclusive. Define it for me, please.
I mean, can I just say Spider-Man 2, right? And Zelda Tears of the Kingdom?
And why is that?
Well, they are big AAA games, right? They're robust experiences.
They're like movies.
Well, Spider-Man is, Zelda isn't. I mean, Zelda's not like a movie in any way, I would say. And especially the new one.
It could be.
Right?
It could be like an animated movie
game. Yeah, but it's more of a sandboxy like experience, right?
Yeah.
But it's about like there's a quality to the amount, like there's an expectation, right, of quality that because you've played similar things, right? So you know what that is. Like your Jedi Survivor, right? You know what that's going to be. Even before the previous one, like you knew what kind of game that was going to be.
Yeah.
Right. So it's easy to look at that as like that's your big AAA games.
But I think what a lot of people do though is they define big exclusives by what PlayStation comes out with, like God of War Ragnarok, the Uncharted games, The Last of Us. I mean, games that could be movies, games that have huge cinematic trailers to them, and they just millions and millions of dollars put into it, right? So, I mean, a lot of Xbox games just have not really been like that. And it's like...
I haven't gotten there. Well,
they haven't gotten there yet. you know, and
And it's well, I think it's a lot because they didn't have the studios to do it. Because you had, I mean, Gears of War was sort of that. Like it felt
Sort of,
like that at first.
yeah.
And it's not that it isn't anymore. I think it's just that franchise is like, it's not bad. It's just tired. Like it's you know, they need just something more fresh with that. And maybe that's why I think smartly, that's why they're giving it longer time for the next game, right? Because they're hopefully going to do something a little bit more risky, you know, take a little more chances to do some more interesting things with it.
Yeah.
But you had Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? That's you had.
Yeah.
And they, you know, who else who was going to make those games for them? They got Quantum Break, and Quantum Break, I didn't review all of that,
which is highly
amazing, but
underrated.
it's a great game.
It's a great game.
I still need to try it.
Yeah, it was marred by the whole weird like TV thing, which I don't know.
The TV portion of it.
It's a weird idea.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Lance Riddick. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Rise, Son of Rome, like that is looks like one of those games.
That was a launch title, Xbox One launch title. Yeah.
You know, it felt that game has. I think that game had potential to be something much better. Like I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. I liked playing it.
Yeah.
But they didn't have that, and are they gonna have those? Yes. I mean, at some point they will. But Hellblade 2 seems to be something like that.
Yeah.
No, Fable can be something like that for sure.
Well, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I mean, like the Xbox community, like Paris was saying during the interview, they've been waiting a long time for these. So hopefully we shall see. But anyway, time to move on, guys. So that was our topic of the show. It was a long topic of the show, of course, kind of intertwined with our gaming news beat. But anyway, let's move on and check our upcoming new game releases for the week of May 8th through the 14th. So, Carl, you are first. What is your pick of the week?
Ooh, I'm excited for Darkest Dungeon 2 to finally get its full 1.0 release on May 8th, PC only. It says the eagerly waited follow-up to Red Hook's smash hit Gothic horror RPG. Darkest Dungeon 2 will test your mettle and drive you to the brink of madness. Armor yourself with purpose and provision your party for the journey ahead. It will be arduous. And it's a significant change from the previous Darkest Dungeon in far as like how your progression really, and it's more what do you call it, roguelike, and like there's sort of runs to it. But the combat is still the same turn-based combat that it was, with some new aspects to it for sure. And the visuals are much better. Like the combat animations and visual, it's incredible. Like this game looks so good. Playing it looks amazing.
Yeah. Like that when that cart was like running down the road there. I mean, just the way it looked was really beautiful.
Yeah, and that's a large portion of the game, is you going through the different areas in the cart and choosing your path, so which way to go, and encounter different things, and you have to be strategic on like your resources and which way you go, what you want to encounter. I played in early access, so like I played a good amount, but I played it like at the beginning months, so like there's a lot that's changed. I'm excited to see what the final product is. It's definitely a game that sort of built with the community to get to its final state.
Yeah. All righty. Right. Next up, and Burley, I will go ahead and read this.
Okay.
Obviously, Burley and I, we have the same pick this week. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, coming out on the Switch on May 12th. An epic adventure across the land and skies of Hyrule. Burley, we're going back to Hyrule again, man. So bring the tequila.
Yeah.
So across the land and skies of Hyrule awaits in The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom for Nintendo Switch. The adventure is yours to create in a world fueled by your imagination. So in the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, you'll decide your own path through the sprawling landscapes of Hyrule and the mysterious islands floating in the vast skies above. Can you harness the power of Link's new abilities to fight back against the malevolent forces that threaten the kingdom? So coming out on the Switch on May 12th. And I have a question, Burley and Carl, for you as well. Are Link and Zelda brother and sister?
No.
No.
Have they ever been in one version? I couldn't tell you, but I don't think they
No. From my time of reading, because I do have the Hyrule Hysteria on my Wii U,
Mhm.
and as far as they've never been brother and sister.
Okay.
Why
You're
do you
sure of
ask?
that?
I'm sure of that. Is that one of the leaks that have been going out with this?
No, it's just no.
Is that a Kotaku story?
No, it's just a feeling I have about them. So
They're gonna reveal that like they've never been. There's never been a romantic interest thing.
Are you hooked on this feeling?
no, it's just something I'm interested in. So it's not really important, but I mean, who knows? We shall see.
This trailer was really good. This recent one.
Yeah,
as I see bits and pieces of it. And I never actually sat and watched the whole thing.
and they showed it in Yodobashi here in Japan. They showed it on an 8K TV. It was really beautiful. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Actually, when I went to see Guardians, the pre-show had this trailer for Zelda. They had the Jedi Survivor trailer thing with Mark Hamill training Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah. It was good.
And they also had Diablo 4 trailer that ended in like an Xbox.
Wow, interesting. You guys give video game trailers. It's interesting. Yeah,
I'll have to let you know what we get for trailers and pre-show because I'm seeing Guardians.
It's that pre-show that's playing when you sit in the theater before the trailers begin.
Yeah.
Well, this I'm very interested to see, and I've heard some stuff, but I'm not going to say one of the stuff I wanted back in the Zelda series after Breath of the Wild to come back, maybe back in this game.
Yeah, I don't know which one it was, A Link to the Past or whatever. There was like a line that I think like the uncle or someone said to
that's Link to the Past.
Link to the Past.
Beginning of the game.
Well, you have to go and save your,
Zelda is your
and so that's why I'm like, are they true? Are they brother and sister?
Zelda's your mom.
Kind of like a Game of Thrones situation.
They're elves. They don't need.
Kind of like a Game of Thrones situation with Jon Snow and Daenerys, right? It's like she's actually your aunt.
Oops. Link. Yeah, Link's your bastard son.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say you should play a Zelda game for story. So.
Well, some of them, yes. Like Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, I'd say the stories are really good where they really push the story. Some of the others, not so much.
Yeah. So anyway, go and check out the new game releases on releases.com. And about the story on the Phil Spencer interview, if you have any comments or anything like that you want to throw out to us, please leave the comments below. We'd really appreciate that when you come and watch the video, whether it's now or later on. So we'd really appreciate that, as well as the state of Xbox. What do you guys think of the state of Xbox coming when it comes to the games showcase and the Starfield Direct? What are you expecting to see during the game showcase and during the Starfield Direct? Let us know in the comments below. We'd really appreciate. And we try to get back to you. So, thanks for that. So, releases.com for all of you video viewers here. You can go and check out all the new game releases for the month of May. And, of course, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Game of the Year 2023. I'm calling it right now. So, there you go.
Boo.
Boo from the Xbox guy. Yeah, because you can't play Zelda on Xbox, Carl. That's why you're booing.
That has nothing to do with it. I got a Switch. I can play Zelda.
Does it?
You have a Switch Lite, right? Switch Lite.
Sears my flesh when I touch it, but that's fine.
That's why he won't touch a PlayStation controller anymore.
I could get through the pain. Yeah.
That and he's afraid of good games. No, I'm kidding.
I might have to get a PS5 for Honkai Star Rail. I need more places
That-
to play it.
That's the reason to get a PS5, not
The
God of
reason.
War, Horizon.
No,
Yeah.
Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. That's what you need a PS4. Right.
Okay.
And Astrobot.
No,
All
no one
right.
wants to play that. Scrap that one.
Okay. Astrobot's cool, man.
I'm sure it's
Especially the one for the PS5, right, Burley? It's cool, man. Yeah.
I love that game.
What are you
Like,
talking about,
it's a-
Carl? Sit down.
It's
It's
a
a
nice
good
thing.
demo.
Teaches you what the PS5 can do,
Yeah, it's
the
good tech demo.
controller, and it's got a loving history to PlayStation, and like a lot
Right.
of franchises on
Good
there.
stuff, man. Oh yeah, yeah, love it. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so it's time to move on. Let's talk about speaking of PlayStation, Burley, PlayStation Plus for May. What do we got coming this month? What's out now?
Alrighty, so we'll do the quick essentials tier. You've got Chivalry 2, which was a 2021 hack and slash multiplayer game. You've got Descenders, which was in 2018, which is the mountain bike game. And where was the Grid Legends by Codemaster that launched last year?
Okay.
Which I'll be honest, I forgot. But I'm not.
Yeah.
Being honest, a bit. Not that like I'm weird with racing games. I'm more the arcadey instead of the traditional.
Yeah.
Those are our essentials, but for extra and premium, let me just
Drum roll,
Okay.
please. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure both Chivalry
Mm-hmm.
2 and
Yeah.
Descenders were on Game Pass already. It's just funny,
That-
like they're all like Game Pass is not a big deal, and then like we put everything that was on Game Pass on PS Plus.
Okay, Carl, let
Okay.
Burley go. Okay, you got your chance for Game Pass coming up. So anyway, yeah.
So we got Alex Kidd in the Miracle Dream World DX.
hmm
You got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assetio Corsa Capitazone.
Okay.
It's another racing game.
Back for Blood.
Yeah.
The
Burley,
Balan
before you go on,
Wanderer.
I'm sorry, Burley, before you go on, in the trailer here, they're showing a lot of those games from the PS Plus. What is it that are actually going to be leaving soon,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Batman, and then it goes to Spider-Man shortly, I think soon.
Yeah.
Bloodborne. Oh, because this was the whole Plus collection. This
Right,
goes
right.
away. I think the 10th.
Yes.
So if you've got a PS5, pick these games up now before they go away.
What was that game? I don't even
Call
know
of
what this
Duty.
is.
Yeah.
Call of
Yeah,
Duty
Call
Black
of Duty.
Ops.
That was not Call of Duty. There's way too much.
Yeah, it was Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah.
technology. Okay.
Uncharted 4.
See the cinematics, man, like movies,
All right.
big
Yeah, Uncharted.
exclusives.
Uncharted's a movie, an interactive movie for sure.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
they
and
made
that's
a
how
movie
that
from
that's
it, yeah.
and that's how they marketed it.
Yeah.
I remember all the stupid Sony ads on that.
Okay. Is that it, Burley? Can we move
Yep.
on?
We can
Okay.
move on.
Okay, Carl, you're up. So coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, we got Ravenlock, which is out now. That was May 4th. We have Weird West Definitive Edition on May 8th, which I'm curious to find out exactly what's in that. They said more details to come, but it's going to be, it's like an update for the Series X version.
And it's here in the trailer too, as we move on.
Yeah,
here, so-
I played Weird West and I like it. It's
Yeah.
a game I would like to go back to. I just, haven't.
Yeah, it's fun.
Shadowrun Trilogy on PC, because that's already on console, but that's coming in
Right.
May 9th. I'm surprised. I don't know why Shadowrun wasn't. That's a very PC game. I don't know why, but who knows. And then you got Fuga, Melodies of Steel 2 launching into Game Pass on May 11th.
Mm-hmm.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
And that was it for this drop. And I know you said there were other ones that I don't know off the top of my head which ones are later in the month that are confirmed, but there are a few. Yeah, it's a Weird West here. Yeah,
this is really, really fun game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like 4K 60 now, which is cool. It has a good style to it, art style. It gets very chaotic. Like,
Yeah.
like, you can cause a lot of chaos. You can start blowing stuff up and like throwing things
yeah.
at people. It's
Yeah.
cool though.
Yeah. It's kind of like Hotline Miami meets Weird West. Weird meets the 19th century. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of RPG elements to it. Like I
Yeah.
like this better than Diablo.
Yeah.
The little bit I played at Diablo 4, like I was more into this. But,
Wow. Yeah. And here's the Shadowrun trilogy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I played 2 of these. Well, I finished the first one, and I played a bit of the third one, a good amount of it, which was better. It's just I just didn't, I wanted to move on to something else.
Yeah. Burley, have you played the Shadowrun trilogy?
I have not. I've heard because I've seen the pen and paper Shadowrun games and all that. I've yet to actually play anything Shadowrun, to be honest. I will have to check these out.
I like the setting. I like the world that it's in is interesting. I think if they were to make something more higher budget, or more AAA looking,
here's the
Fuga
game here. So.
Yeah, with the big, like sort of almost like Metal Slug type robot.
Yeah.
And this is it is a turn-based combat system.
Something you love for sure. So
yeah, man.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Yeah. Tales of Revenge.
Ooh, Revenge.
Yep.
That's why Honkai Star Rail is so good, because it's turn-based.
Okay. All right.
This is the best version.
I'll take your word
gacha
for
game.
it. Yeah. New judgment system. We strike first.
All allies strike first. Ooh.
Yeah. So for all of you audio listeners, we're just ranting about the games that are coming out here for Game Pass during the month of May, and of course, Amnesia: The Bunker. Here you go.
Right, Amnesia.
Yeah, coming out on the 23rd. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know much about this franchise, although I know people said this was a good franchise. Like from the previous game, I just don't know. Yeah, what is it like? It looks like horror aspect, first person.
Yeah.
Is there physics puzzles or something? I don't even know. There's physics in the game engine for sure.
Oh, looked like a vampire from Redfall.
These look better than the vampires in Redfall.
Yeah, I look throwing a brick at a door.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I was thinking the vampires in Redfall, they kind of remind me of the Master from Salem's Lot. Remember? I don't know if you guys probably way before
I've heard the name. I've never watched
seen
it.
Yeah.
So Stephen
Railway
King,
Express, huh?
Yep,
Okay.
Railway Express, yeah. Track construction. Yes. So build your railways. Stations expand up to 8 tracks.
Ooh.
Yeah. Good stuff. Railway system here in Japan's huge. It's very popular. So
These are steam engines, though.
yeah, well, we do have a steam engine out here. Yeah, and one of the adjacent prefectures, there's a steam engine train that runs like twice a week. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Alrighty.
Cassette Beast.
Cassette Beast, yep.
Yeah, this is one I need to get to playing. I'm just trying to finish a few games.
Coming out on the 25th. Yeah.
I really do want to play it. Yeah, because it's out on PC already, but this is the console launching 25th. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But this is right up my alley with the Pokemon and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, and reviews are really good on it, so I do want to try it.
Yeah, looks fun. Candyville.
Candy.
Yeah. Far World Pioneers coming out on the 30th. It's the last game on this Game Pass compilation here. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of like SteamWorld Dig in a sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say this reminds me of a few different kind of games.
Yeah.
These kind of games are, for me, they're really hit or miss, because I either will play and really get into them, or I'll play for like an hour and be like, not for me.
Yeah. All right. So those are the Game Pass games coming out for the month of May. And of course, Carl talked about the ones that are confirmed already. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right. So now it's time to talk about some, of course, programming notes here when I can close this up here. So let me go ahead and close this up. So programming notes, our extra take. So our supplemental series to the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast. We have 2 new episodes that are out that Burley and I did. One was with Chris Mango, who is the developer of Acute Mango for Mango Mischief, the 16-bit game. We had an interview with him. Please check out that video, but there is a warning before, of course, and I have a kind of an intro. We did have some technical issues when we were recording the episode, but nevertheless, it's a great interview, and Chris is a great guy. So go and check that one out with the developer of Mango Mischief. And then also Burley and I did a gameplay breakdown of Jedi Survivor. So please check that out as well. So we got that down. And probably next up on the pipeline, Burley, is Zelda, right? Probably some Tears of the Kingdom gameplay breakdown footage. We'll get that ready and do another extra take for that. Yeah. So yeah, please check out our supplemental series to the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast, the Arena Extra Take, which of course is ad-free over on Patreon, our Patreon, patreon.com/The Arena Productions. And of course, you could also see it here on YouTube with the ads, of course. But you can check it out at either place. So, all right. So it's time to talk about the games that we're going to be playing this next week. I'm going to continue with Jedi Survivor, try to plow my way through that. And then, of course, on Friday, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out. So I will be playing that, of course. Carl, how about you?
Yeah, Persona 4 Golden. Gotta keep going. Almost done there. Honkai Star Rail is my, I'm on the couch and I just got my phone in my hands and I do my little stuff there. And then, Ghostwire Tokyo. I do want to play more of that.
Nice. And
then there's Darkest Dungeon 2. I don't know if maybe I'll jump in and play a little bit for the new release. I don't have time, man. So many games to play.
Yeah. Burley?
Well, Jedi Survivor will be continuing on that and try and get some Tears of the Kingdom in at the end of the week, but also we'll be finishing up Fire Emblem Engage.
All right. Okay. So it's time to wrap up this episode of the show. So this week's indie recording artist spotlight is on Kick Tracks. Kick Tracks combines vinyl hip-hop grooves, chill beats, atmospheric electronic sounds, acoustic instruments, and field recordings to create a special mood that arises during travels and in moments when you simply enjoy life. His songs were featured on the ads of some of the biggest brands out there, from the title song of his album called Pappy Beat. So this has been the Arena Multiplatform Gaming News Podcast, episode 132. I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley, Burlerman Gaming, and Turn-Based Carl. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the outro. Peace out.
Julep.